My name is Tom Brown. This is course FTT 221. The course assignment's name is Sights, Optics, and Accuracy. So before I begin scoping and lapping, I'm going to make my AR-15 that I'm using safe. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see, I'm going to be using this magazine. It has no rounds on top of it. What I did is I've taken the weapon, pointed in a safe direction. I have no physically and visually made sure that there's no rounds inside the rifle itself. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and load it back on here because I'm using my vise. I'm going to leave that open just so you can kind of see. I've already mounted the rings on here where I want them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of find out the level, make sure that the scoping of the sights, mounting sights, are correct. I have a white backdrop here only because with a white backdrop, you can kind of tell whether this is where I want it to be or not. And you can tell it's pretty accurate right there with just the levelness of the rifle itself. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do some lapping even though, and just to make sure that it's actually correct. And with that being said, I'm going to use 220 grit compound, lapping compound. And what you would do here is basically you just take this and you just take a little bit of it. This kind of like works as like a little sandpaper, and you want to place it inside the scope rings all down through here, because again it's going to using this as a little sandpaper. So kind of make sure that you get it all the way around, especially on the bottom. Once you do both rings, try not to make a mess. And as you start lapping your rings, I'm going to use my my lapping tool here that SDI sent me. And what you do is you want to place it. Use this as a grinder. So basically, just kind of, you can hear that sound that it's making, and believe it or not, it's actually grinding the metal. Now, when you grind this metal off, as you grind it off, when I clean off the compound itself, what you're going to find out is you want about 70. You're going to start seeing the change of the color of the actual rings themselves, and you want at least 70 to 75% of the rings to be covered. That kind of gives you a nice flat surface for both of them. Just kind of do that real quick. Wipe this off real quick, and then just kind of see if there's any discoloration. And again, because the rings themselves were already pretty balanced, you may not get a whole lot of it. See if any part of it's lined up even more. Again, that's pretty close. That's pretty close. But again, and again, this may take several attempts. This may take several attempts. So I've still got some, put just a little bit more compound in here, just real quick. Now, again, this is my lapping tool. And this works as a sander, like I said. And believe it or not, this compound is actually just grinding off just a little bit of the metal from the scope rings themselves. Trying to keep the whole thing level at all times. Okay. So what we got here. Clean off any excess. I can see just a little bit of discoloration where it came off her on on the very tip right here, what might have been just a little high on the scope, which came off. Okay, so let's try this one more time, take a look at it, and see if it lines up where we want it to. And we'll mount our scope, which I feel pretty confident that that's pretty level. So when I get that, then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and mount my scope here. Again, make sure it's level. And then what you do is place the tops of your scope rings in place. I don't like to, when I put on the top part, I don't like to screw down one end too tight. I kind of want to do it gradually. But once you got one down, then you can kind of start tightening them down to where it's not going to move whatsoever. Because as this weapon is fired over and over and over again, a lot of times the recoil on these rifles and stuff is pretty extenuating. So you want to make sure, because this scopes will move if everything's not tight where they need to be, then your scope will end up moving. And you know, after several rounds, after several hunts or a couple of hunts or whatever, you want to make sure, just go back and test them. And what you have there is just mounted my rifle scope, and that's what we did there. What we performed there was the lapping of the lapping rings. Again, this is Tom Brown. This is November. I think it's the 21st. I think. Let me just double check it. Oh, as you were, the 23rd. The 23rd. Should know that because it's for my granddaughter's birthday. So other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video.